made it to 90 days, fellas. I made it to 90 days. I gotta be honest with you. I don't feel good. I've been feeling angry. I've been feeling depressed, unmotivated. I'm flatlining. I felt pretty good up to day 30, but since then things have been pretty rough. I know that something inside of me is changing. Something inside of me is dying. Now, is any of this a reason to run back to my old habits? Start looking lustfully at women again? Start fantasizing about experiences that in all likelihood will never happen? Should I go back to distracting myself with superficial interactions, relationships? Should I start filling my time with empty activities? See, even though I haven't been feeling great, on the other hand, I'm gaining more and more respect for myself. And this is flowing on to the people I interact with. So even though I'm still feeling anxiety, some nights I'm having trouble sleeping, I'm feeling a lack of motivation, I'm feeling uncertain about the future. Even though all of this is happening, I'm feeling more and more like I'm on the right path. I went to the gym this morning, day 90. Day 90 without lustful thoughts. Now, I'm not going to lie to you and say there haven't been any lustful thoughts, but I haven't spent any time lingering on those lustful thoughts. I've seen them coming and I've switched to something else. Because I know that the longer I spend entertaining these ill guests, the harder it's going to be to make them leave my home when I want to get on with my life. Every second I allow them to sit at my table, they get more and more comfortable in my space, until it reaches the point where I have to get physical with them to make them leave. I don't want to do that. So the moment I see them at my front door, the moment I see them trying to walk inside, shut that door. Just shut the door straight away. It's not worth it. I went to the gym and, for the last couple of weeks, I've been avoiding these feelings of depression on weekends because that's when they start to hit, when I'm not busy. And for the last couple of weekends, I've been dabbling with the plant medicine, my plant medicine of choice, easily accessible cannabis. Now, what I've liked about cannabis in the past is that it has allowed me to see through the veil. Something about that substance where it opens up what's really going on inside you. I've rarely used it in recent times for anything other than going on these journeys. And every time it shows me things that I didn't want to see. Exposes my fears, my anger, my buried emotions very effectively. But the last couple of weeks that I've done it, I've become acutely aware of the penalty involved in saturating my brain with dopamine. Benefits aside, I realized that for the following days after I've used cannabis, taken it orally, edible form, my energy is completely cooked, almost for the whole week. It's like I've got to come back into balance after I've gone so high. And I've got to go down way low until I can finally be back into equilibrium. And that takes time. You start to become so aware of these impacts on your energy. And if you're honest with yourself, they're not worth it. It's not worth the price that you have to pay just for a few minutes, a couple of hours of whatever benefit you're looking for, whether it's pleasure or escape or even introspection. So I've cut that habit. I can't tolerate it anymore, and I can't tolerate anything that robs me of energy. So here I am back in full exposure to my own emotions. What I'm realizing is that the further you go, the further back it takes you into your past. Because sexual fantasizing, self-stimulation, corn, seeking validation, these behaviors all stem from times in your life when you couldn't handle what life was giving you. And this can go all the way back to your childhood. And you manage to go around these challenges, these uncomfortable emotions and situations for years, maybe decades. But now that you're cutting off all these lifelines, that's the way you treated them, you're going all the way back face to face to where this started. You are facing developmental milestones in your spiritual journey that you skipped. It's all catching up with you. You're having to go back and resit those classes, those spiritual lessons in how to deal with stresses, with pressures, with discomfort, with exposure to parts of yourself that you couldn't handle back then. So I got some anger, I got some frustration, I got some impatience. It's all coming to the surface. But I'm not trying to run anymore. Bring it on. I'm ready. On my way to the gym, I saw a number plate. Car in front of me. It said 888. I used to see this number all the time years ago. I saw it every day. I'd see it multiple times per day. And I looked up what it meant. And it means abundance. Abundance on all levels, not just material, spiritual, inner, and material. Triple gold. Started listening to a talk, another guy's experience of SR, and he's talking about these numbers. And he was saying that they're like messages from your future self, breadcrumbs. I thought, oh, that's funny. I just saw a 888 number before I got here. I spent about 2 hours in the gym just cranking it out, just exhausting myself, because I knew that I'd be coming home later. I didn't want any energy to be left, if you know what I mean. Left the gym, went and got a bite to eat, took it down to the beach, jumped in the water, beautiful, fresh, cold water. And I walked up the beach and found a spot that was semi-shaded under some trees. Not too many people around. Ate my food and then I started to meditate. As I sat there, focusing on my breath, feeling it flowing in and out, focusing on that point at the end of my nostrils where you can feel the breath flowing over your skin. That's your anchor point. And you just focus. The mind wanders and you focus, you bring it back. You get distracted and you bring it back. You listen to the breath in and out, in and out. It becomes like a saw cutting back and forth on a piece of wood, cutting that groove deeper and deeper. With every cut in and out, you're going deeper into concentration. You're going more and more into that single point. And as you do that, you begin to lose awareness of the external. Your attention becomes congealed, condensed. When your attention is that focused, when you have mastered your attention so that it's condensed into a pinprick, you can then take that condensed attention and apply it to any task. And you will be the best. No one will be able to compete with you when your attention is that focused. Doesn't matter what you want to do. And as I sat there and I just focused, had my headphones in, I had some binaural beats, theta beats. And I noticed that people had started to gather around me. I could hear some voices, I could hear some women talking, chattering, giggling. And I began to become aware that my field had created this space in the matrix. And I began to sense and feel the attention of others around me being directed at me. You know when people are directing their attention at you, you can feel it. They might not be saying anything about you, they might not be looking at you, but you can feel when others have their awareness on you. It's a very distinct feeling. Like that feeling when you know someone's watching you. You turn around and sure enough. And I could feel this curiosity, attraction, interest. They wanted that energy. You see, what you're doing is so rare. You are 1 in a million. Even to have the intention to better yourself like this, to align yourself with a higher version, to let go of these old patterns. This sets you apart from the crowd. You are stewarding an energy now, even if you've just begun. You are stewarding a frequency, an energy, a presence, which is rare. The deeper you go with this, the more you're going to begin to heal the people that you encounter. Without having to do a thing to make it so. I sat there for an hour. And when I opened my eyes, I saw that there were 2 women to my right, 2 women to my left. Then there was an older woman to my left and a young man to my left. 6 people had gathered around me, gathered in my field, all within a few meters. I got up and walked to the water to have another swim. Jumped in that glorious feminine goodness. And as I was walking back, I looked at the place where I'd been sitting, where this clump of people had gathered within that field, like iron filings when you hold a magnet and they follow and they trace the field. They're all sitting there, and I looked across the rest of the beach and there were people scattered here and there, but they all clumped in that one spot. And there was another woman just staring at me who was a little bit further away. They were feeding off the energy. And I've experienced this before. You see, it's not all about attraction in the sense of sexual attraction. It's about the gateway that opens through you. You become a portal of God. You become an embodiment of divinity. And people of all walks of life animals, nature itself becomes drawn to your energy. Because you are the dreamer. And the dream is beginning to wake up. This is your dream. The further you go with this, the more magnetic you're going to become. The more you're going to heal everything you come into contact with. The great mystic Neville Goddard speaks about his awakening to Christ consciousness. And he describes a dream he has, whether or not a dream or an awakening in a parallel dimension, where he's walking down the street, and everywhere he walks, there are broken people, cripples, people who are blind with no eyes in their sockets, people missing limbs, people with leprosy, barren, dry ground, dead trees. And as he walks by, the deaf begin to hear, the blind begin to see, the lame begin to walk. The barren soil brings forth flowers. The trees begin to sprout green leaves. This is all going to happen to you, through you. Continue to walk the path. Continue to purify yourself. Continue to make your highest intention to realize who you are. The money, the women, the experiences, everything will come without you having to search for it. As I'm beginning to realize for myself, without you having to manifest it. It's an all-in-one package. When you fix your attention on the kingdom of heaven, you get everything. I do not consider these present sufferings to be of any significance. because I'm beginning to see the glory which will be mine as I run the race. It's coming, King. Stay focused.